And we have received an apology from the chairperson as well as member Steko. And based on the standing rules 82.3, in the absence of the chairperson from a meeting, the committee must elect one of its members to be an acting chairperson at the meeting. I would like to take any nominations now. Member Philander.
Good morning, Premier. Good morning, members. I would love to propose as acting chairperson for the session, Morel Wenger.
Member Allen.
Thank you, Procedural Officer. I would second the nomination made by Member Philander. Thank you.
Member Wenger. All in favor? Hi, good morning, Chairperson.
Good morning, Ms. Kamis Ahmad. Thank you. Is that then all in order?
There's no further nominations, Chairperson, so you are the Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. Very good morning to you all and a warm welcome to the Standing Committee on the Premier and Constitutional Matters. Today we will be deliberating on the adjustment budgets of the department, vote 1. I extend a very warm welcome to the members of the committee. As mentioned, we have apologies from Honourable Mackenzie, for whom I'm standing in, and from Honourable Tlejo. Very good morning to the Department of the Premier. Nice to see you, Premier Alan Winde and Director General Dr. Malila. You're very welcome. I'd also like to welcome any members of the public joining us virtually, and please be welcome. Before we get into the meat of the meeting, I'm quickly going to remind all participants of the rules for virtual engagements. I ask members to raise any points of order by either using the chat function or the raise hand function. We ask that video and audio be switched off unless you are making a contribution to the meeting. And then once that is concluded, to please turn off your microphones to help us stabilize the connection. With that, I'm going to hand over to the Premier and the DG for any high-level or introductory remarks before we get into the meat of the budget in the Blue Book. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you very much. And I am joined by the Director General and a number of officials. I'm just looking as they are logging on. I'm not sure if you want us to just go through and introduce ourselves as to all's here before we start.
Yes, please.
All right, fine. I think probably the easiest way is good morning to all the honourable members. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I will hand over to the DG and then maybe each of our officials can just quickly pop on their camera and just introduce themselves, say good morning, and then put it off again. Thanks, Chair. DG?
Good morning, Chair, and also good morning to all the members. Good morning to you also, Premier. My name is Harry Malila, and I'm the Accounting Officer for the Department of the Premier and also the DG in the province. Thank you.
Good morning, Premier, Chairperson, Honourable Members. I'm Andre Jumat. I'm the Head of the Corporate Services Centre in the Department of the Premier.
Good morning, members. This is Drie Passon. I'm the CFO of the department.
All right. Anybody else to make introductions?
Chair, we also have other members that have just joined us. Maybe they didn't hear. So I'm just going to ask them quickly. I saw Lucas Buter join. So Lucas, if you can just switch on your camera. Lucas, the Head of Legal Services.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Yeah. And then, Chair, I also saw Hilton Arendse just joined. Hilton, if you can just switch on your camera.
You're on mute. But good morning.
Good morning, DG. Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. Hilton Arendse, Centre for Innovation.
Yeah. Then, Chair, we've got also our own support team. Those are the program managers. I also saw Henriette Robson on the call. And I just wanted to ask, Henriette, if you can just introduce yourself and switch to the camera, Head of Corporate Assurance.
Good morning, Chairperson and members. Henriette Robson, Head of Corporate Assurance.
Thank you. Chair, those are all the program managers in the department, and then there are other staff members, also support staff. And I mean, they're welcome to switch on their cameras, but I mean, if they don't want to, then that's also fine. It's Nazipo in my office, and then Robert in my office, Robert Shaw, and then Odette Kaysen is in the office of the Premier, and then I've got Renee Trout, who's one of our support members in the finance side, and then I've got Sirat. Just that's Robert, and then that's the team from our side, Chair. Thank you.
Super, thank you very much. Very warm welcome to the Department of the Premier, and again, a warm welcome to all the members joining us in the committee. Right, let's get tucked into the budget adjustments. Premier, I don't know if you'd like to make some very brief introductory remarks.
Sure, thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. So obviously this is vote one. The main appropriation, 1.748562 billion. We've got a decrease of 3.550 million. We'll obviously get into the line by lines, as we go through the various pages, so we can deal in the detail. But there's a shifting of funds between votes. That's the 33.550 million. You'll see provincial strategic management, it's 2.9 million. There, it's 400,000 shifted to vote 7, that's social development, for the cost of early childhood development, the ECD summit that we held. There's 2.5 million, that's to vote 12. That was the development of the tourism integrated service delivery. There is in people management, 308,000, that was going to vote 6. This is for Provincial Employee AIDS Program. Then in Program 4, Centre for E-Innovation, this is where a larger amount, 36.758 million, 1.4 million shifted from vote 4, community safety. This was for software systems for the safety plan and safety projects. 30.909 million from vote 6, health. That was for the Microsoft Azure cloud computing and technical services. 2.6 million from vote 9, that's environmental affairs and development planning to assist with the development of the enhancement of integrated pollution and waste information system. Of course, that all then comes to e-innovation, for which Hilton would give further details. 1.2 million education to fund the services of IT business process analysts. And then 600,000 shifted for vote 13, cultural affairs and sport implementation of the archive web portal. Then, of course, there's realignment of the provincial budget, 37.1 million. 11.5 million surrendered for compensation of employees. The DG will also give further detail on this. We had a number of senior positions retire or move on to different positions. And we didn't fill these posts immediately because of the cost containment and us really trying very hard to make sure that we manage and lead from this department to show that we've got to manage our HR and manage our cost of employment. We have to show other departments as well that we are leading from the front. We can talk a bit more about that. Then, of course, there's various numbers, 1.5 million, which relates to the Children's Commissioner earmarking fund, another 2.5 million for the Children's Fund, Provincial Revenue Fund that's earmarked. Obviously, in this time, getting things going is not that quick because of the COVID experience of lockdowns, etc., and also the Children's Commissioner setting up new offices. Well, another 1.1 million surrendered to Early Childhood Development ECD Partnership, the Provincial Revenue Fund as well. That's also earmarked. 15 million for the broadband project, earmarked as well. And then another 7 million broadband municipality project funding, also earmarked in the revenue fund. And then perhaps the only other thing that I will probably add is you'll also see towards the end, you will also see in the statement of gifts, donations and sponsorships. There again, obviously, a number of state funerals that were funded. And also, you will note an amount there of 99,000 Rand, other than state funerals, was for the Wingfield site ablution facilities. This was after a call from Minister Motsoaledi, as those sites were being closed down, and repatriation of many foreign nationals there was a bit of an overlap problem of getting either repatriation flights aligned during COVID-19. And so the minister said, please, can we work together on this? And between the city, the province, and the national department, we obviously wanted to avert an international crisis of refugees not being looked after properly. So we said to the minister we would step in there. And there I must say thank you very much to the DG, who also very proactively got involved to avert a crisis there. And we said we would contribute towards that. I think that's sort of overall. There are a lot of small environments that we can talk to, but I think when we go through page by page, if there are any issues that need to be dealt with, we will deal with them. Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure, DG, if you want to add to that.
Premier, thank you very much. I mean, I think you've covered all our stuff. Maybe just to note that the amount of underspending on the Children's Commissioner, that's been pushed forward to 2022, 2023, so to allow it to fill certain positions. And then also, Premier spoke about the funding also to the Children's Commissioner for the building. That will also be made available in 2022, 2023. And then the money as it relates to broadband, also the rollout of public Wi-Fi, Chair, that's also been made available to the last year in the of the current MTF. Obviously, a lot of that is to do with COVID, the inability, for municipalities to obviously issue way leaves, etc. And then obviously the issue around certain of the buildings not being available to do all of it. But the money is not lost. Obviously, we're on track, particularly with our broadband issue. And as I've indicated, those monies will be made available to the vote in the next year's MTF. Chair, I think that's it from our side. Thank you very much.
Super. Thanks very much. Members, I direct you to the Blue Book, Vote 1, Department of the Premier, which is on page 1. Let's start with page 1. Any questions on page 1 or page 2? If there are no questions on page 1 or page 2.
Point of order, Chair. Are we asked to look at page 1 and 2? Peter Murray.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Honourable Murray.
Yes. I never received any copies of anything. I don't know whether they're boycotting me or what. I can't follow the discussions because they never sent me what you are referring to now, the presentation. I just wanted a note to be made of that. I take exception to it.
Honourable Murray, you should have received in your pigeonhole or via email the adjusted estimates of provincial revenue and expenditure.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I didn't.
Okay. Could I ask the procedural officer just to double check that Honourable Murray has received the information, and if not, if we could send it to him immediately, please. Thank you. We will assist you immediately, Honourable Murray. Thank you. Then let's move on to the environments and shifts of funds within vote and programme. These are found on page 3 to 6. Are there any questions on pages 3 to 6? I had some questions about Wingfield, but those have already been addressed by the Premier. Any questions on pages 3 to 6? Going once? Twice? All right, then let's move on to page 7, details of adjustments to the estimates of provincial expenditure. Any questions on page 7? Ms. Kamish Ahmad, I note your hand.
Chair, I think a member Dagmo is having problems with his sound, but he's putting things in the chat. If you can just read the chat.
I can't see the chat. I'm afraid I don't have a chat box for whatever reason.
I'm not sure if the colleagues can see the questions in the chat. No?
No.
No, we can't either.
Nope.
Yeah.
Chair, I'm going to read the questions out. Member Dagmo is saying.
a screenshot of the
Sure.
questions?
Will do.
Okay, then I will assist the meeting in that regard. So we're then posing questions up to page 7. I'll just wait for it to come through. I think there's a question from Honourable Dugmore about the wellness interns on page 4. I did see that.
So that's in the middle.
If you'd like to respond to that question in the interim.
Yeah, Chair, I can respond to that. That's in the middle of the page 4. So that's funding 2.1 million that's been available for compensation for employers to fund the wellness interns. Obviously, Chair, what we've realized given COVID is a tremendous pressure, particularly in our 3 frontline departments: education, health, and social development. So what has happened is that people come to the hospital, and then suddenly a nurse needs to deal with some of the psychological issues happening within communities, or they go to school and then a teacher or the principal needs to deal with that. So what we've done from our side is, given the fact that we also take responsibility for employee wellness, which is linked to this, we've then made some funding available to employ interns. So, but these are professional interns who is qualified in this area. So it's people basically with an honors in psychology, and they've now been made available to the Department of Education, Health and Social Development. Some of them have already started, and there's about 20 or so that's going to start in January when the schools open. This is really to assist the schools, hospitals, and our social development officers to assist people that's actually coming to these institutions that's got particular psychological issues or issues within the community. So this is a major initiative, and it's part of our whole push with regards to wellness. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, DG. And could you tell us for what period the wellness interns will be available to the departments?
Chair, for now, it will be for a period of 2 years. So they are appointed for 12 months. But they will be available for 24 months, and that will obviously be subject to performance. So after a year, if they perform well, they can be in that specific department for a period of 24 months. And my department have actually facilitated all of this together with the respective HODs of those 3 departments. Thanks.
Thank you. And then finally, the criteria for appointment and whether the positions were advertised.
Yeah. Chair, all of the positions were advertised, so we followed the exact same process as we follow with all interns, and we've asked our team that's normally responsible to appoint interns to actually run with the entire process. We received a number of applications. There's a full-on criteria that's been used that is available. I mean, if you would like to look at it. And we've then pulled in the Department of Education, the Department of Health, and the Department of Social Development to be part of all the interviews, and they could actually choose the most appropriate interns according to the criteria, and they were also interviewed. Thanks.
Thank you. Final question from Honourable Dugmore, whether they're being paid. I can only assume so if there's a budget allocation, but if you'd be able to respond in more detail, please.
Yeah, Chair, they are definitely being paid. There are norms and standards that's applied. So if you have a degree, you get paid X amount. If you have an honors degree, you get paid X amount, and that is basically how the system works. So they are paid according to certain criteria, that's applied consistently across all the platforms where we actually employ interns. Thanks.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, then up to page 7, then let's move on to actual payments. Those can be found on pages 8 and 9 of the blue books. Are there any questions there? Honourable Murray.
My questions, actually, if I'm ruled out of order, I will be unhappy, but I'll accept it because I don't have the pages in front of me to say I refer to page 1, 2, or 12. My interest is solely that the Premier mentioned that the Minister asked him to help and assist with the repatriation of foreigners here, which was housed there in that tent. That's a national function. Why should we help them if they cut our budgets? I don't understand the logic here. This is a national decision for those people to be here. And I think it's Patricia de Lille who put up that tent. Now, why must we help them if they don't help us? I'd like to see the logic here, because they cut our budgets. Now they're asking us for help.
Thank you, Honourable Marais.
Thank you very much. Obviously, when the minister called, it was at a stage where there was agreement to repatriate. There were a number of people that had said, yes, they are going to go back home to their respective countries. And there was about a week's overlap between when they were going to fly and when the tents and places that they were staying in was going to be broken down. So we had a day to go until we were going to remove the tents, they were going to remove the toilets, and all I could see was in every international newspaper in the Western Cape, we don't care about foreign nationals. They are all waiting for their flights. They've got 7 days to go, and we've removed the toilets and we've removed the tents. And that really was going to be an international crisis that would really do us a lot of damage to our international brand. And I really said that this is something we've got to look at how we can work together to make sure that we actually just bridge that gap between when they were going to be leaving South Africa. I mean, it was being paid up until that stage. So it was just going to be for 1 week. And I said to him, I can't do it for more than 1 week, but I'm happy to help that we actually find each other. I mean, it was obviously difficult negotiations at that time, that we find each other. And there was already the tenders had stopped. The tents were to be broken down the next day. The toilets were to be removed. And instead of really just ending up with an international mess on our doorstep, we said, listen, let's make sure that there's dignity for these citizens before they get their flights back home to their respective countries. It's the very least that we could have offered. So that was the reason.
I'm happy that, Speaker, at least we show some benevolence.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Honourable Marais. I know, members, we are on page 10, but I've received a question from Honourable Doug Moore on page 7, and given the IT constraints, I'm going to allow it. So I'm just going to take us back to page 7 briefly. Under Programme 4, it's the second last line, the shift to education for the services of an IT business process analyst. The question there is, was the post advertised, for what period, and what was the cost of the post? Is the post on the establishment, and for what period?
Chair, I'm going to ask Hilton to deal with anything further, but we've got the contractual arrangement as the Department of the Premier, to basically get business analysts into our space, because obviously we deal with the transversal networks. We're responsible for the Centre for Innovation for the entire government, and periodically departments sometimes need specific skills, and then we make those skills available, but on the proviso that they actually pay for it. So typically, in many departments, they've got business analysts to deal with certain issues, and if they require specific skills, we get it, but they actually pay for it. And this is exactly the same thing that happened in the Department of Education. So we've procured the services of a business analyst, and they had to actually pay for it, and that amount was 1.2 million, and they've made it available, and then obviously they give it to us, and that would enable us to actually pay for it. So that's over and above our normal services that we are providing.
Thank you. I would hand over to Mr. Arendse.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, just in terms of with it's a post that's been advertised, it's not an internal post. It's part of a contract, as Dee just indicated, and that's just an indicative rate of the specific resource. And depending on the period that the person is also will be utilized, so the funds is being transferred to us. So it's not necessarily an internal post that had to be advertised. That's just a resource that's being sourced off an existing contract.
Thank you very much for those responses. Right, then let's move on. We're going to look at expenditure trends on page 10, as well as the summary of receipts on page 11 and 12. Any questions then on pages 10, 11 and 12? Expenditure trends and summary of receipts? No questions. Then we move on to page 13, which is the statement of gifts, donations and sponsorships, I beg your pardon, received and granted. We have a question from Honourable Dugmore on this page. He says he would like to acknowledge the support provided by the Department of the Premier for Provincial State Funerals. So there's a comment. Thank you. I wanted to just ask, under this, most of these seem to be granted donations and gifts. Were there any received that the committee needs to note?
Yeah, Chairman, the gifts that we receive, those things are normally put into our gift register. I mean, so from an ethics perspective, we do that. And then obviously we will only bring that into our annual financial statement. So there's an entire process, and gifts and donations above a certain amount gets approved by myself as the accounting officer. And then I think I also note your comment with regards to, the state funerals, maybe just to indicate to the committee that we've got a detailed process. So whenever we receive an application, it's not one person that makes a decision on it. We've got a committee, and we've got certain things that we are considering. And I think, as Member Dugmore has indicated, if you run across this, there's detailed record also of all these gifts, donations, and sponsorship that we've actually made as a department. Thanks.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, then I'm going to table all the annexures, which can be found on pages 14 to 20. That's annexure A and B, 14 to 20. Are there any questions on pages 14 to 20? Does not appear so. There is apparently also a question then, sorry to take everybody back, from Honourable Murray to the Premier to ask which minister asked him to assist with the repatriation of foreigners.
Thank you very much. It was Minister Aaron Motsoaledi.
Thank you very much. All right, that then concludes the page by page in the adjusted estimates of provincial revenue and expenditure for Vote 1, Department of the Premier. Thank you very much to the Premier and the DG, as well as the team, for joining us this morning, for presenting the budget and for answering our questions. We're very grateful to you. I'd now like to ask members of the public that might be present on the line if they would like to make any comments or pose any questions, obviously related to the vote under consideration. I'm just going to give it a few moments. Sometimes it takes a little while for hands to be raised, or otherwise please turn on your microphone if you would like to pose a question or make a comment. Honourable Murray, I'm opening this to members of the public at the moment. Is that a point of order?
Sorry, madam, I apologize. I didn't hear public.
Okay, do you have a final question?
No, I just wanted to say we should express gratitude and appreciation for the hard work of this department. We all know how hard this Premier has worked. We know how much sacrifices we've made. He's been all over the show throughout this COVID-19 campaign. For me, it's not just about the dispensing of money, but also the dispensing of your energy, Premier, and your commitment and your openness. And that should be appreciated by this committee and this House. So I just want to express from our side, the Freedom Front, great admiration and appreciation for the work that you and the department has done.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words, Honourable Murray. We indeed are very fortunate to have such a Premier and DG leading the province. You've gone a step ahead to the vote of thanks. It does not appear that there are any members of the public that wish to pose questions or make any comments. So on that note, then I will thank Premier Alan Winde. Thank you very much for all your hard work and efforts during these very difficult times, as well as to you, Dr. Malila, and your very competent and efficient team for all the work that has been done. And we're very grateful for the hard work done on behalf of this committee. Thank you very much. If the committee members would please stay behind, we have to draft our report and consider some documents. Officials from the department may be excused. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, honourable members, and Honourable Marais, thank you as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, members, let's then continue. The next item on our agenda is the consideration and adoption of the committee report. As we've done several times before, you'll be familiar with the report. This committee has to indicate now whether we support or not support the vote. Could I have any indication of support or not support for vote 1? I see your hand, Honourable Philander.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, in respect to vote 1, I wish to express support for vote 1.
Thank you. Honourable Allen.
Thank you, Chairperson. I support. Thank you.
Honourable Marais. Yes, Honourable Marais, yes. I saw you put your hand up, put it down. I recognise you. Apologies.
Alan stole my fire, so I will withdraw that. You already seconded it.
You can indicate whether you support or not support the vote.
Oh, yes, I fully support the vote.
Thank you very much. Is there any note from Honourable Dugmore? Okay, a note from Honourable Dugmore that the ANC does not support the vote. Honourable Dugmore, would you indicate whether you require a minority view to be included? Sorry, members. Honourable Dugmore, would you like a minority view to be included in the report, or simply for us to note that you do not support vote 1? Minority view is being requested. All right. Then please have a look at your screens. You'll then see the report, which I'm going to read out now. The draft report of the Standing Committee on the Premier and Constitutional Matters, vote 1, Premier. I beg your pardon, it should read Report of the Standing Committee on the Premier and Constitutional Matters on Vote 1, Premier, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill B6/2021, dated 7 December 2021. The Standing Committee on the Premier and Constitutional Matters reports that it has concluded its deliberations on Vote 1, Premier, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill B6/2021, referred to the committee in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote referred to it. In terms of Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view that they do not, let me just check that I've got it right, do not support the vote. Okay, all right. Is everyone happy with that report as appearing on your screens?
In order, Chair.
Are there any objections?
No.
Okay. Then the report of the Standing Committee on Vote 1, Premier, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill B6/2021 is then duly adopted. I just want to check, Ms. Kamish Ahmed, is everything in order up to this point?
That's correct, Chairperson. We just got a set of minutes.
Okay, so the report is then concluded. I see Honourable Allen, is that a point of order?
So sorry, my hand was still up, Chair.
Okay. Honourable Philander?
Yes, Chairperson, may I ask, in relation to the statement made by Honourable Peter Marais to the Premier, of which the sentiments I completely share and agree with, is it possible for this committee to formally resolve that we direct a letter of appreciation to the Premier's department for the sterling work that they are doing. Can I seek support for such, Chairperson?
Certainly, there is a proposal from Honourable Philander. Is there support for that proposal in the committee?
I support that proposal. It's time we recognise efficiency.
Duly support, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Marais and Honourable Allen. On the motion of Honourable Philander, the committee resolves to draft a letter and forward that to the Premier, echoing the sentiments made by Honourable Marais in the committee. Thank you. Then let's look at draft committee meeting minutes. On your screen, you'll see Wednesday, the 24th of November at 9 o'clock, which was a virtual meeting. Please have a look at who was present. All right. Page 1, any edits or amendments? Page 2, any edits or amendments? If there are none, can we move to adopt the minutes? Thank you, Honourable Allen.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move that we adopt. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Honourable Fernandez. The minutes are then duly adopted. Are there any further minutes or documents that need to be dealt with?
That's it, Chairperson. Just any resolutions from the committee side. Thank you.
Perfect. So we've made one resolution. Are there any further requests for information or recommendations or resolutions based on today's meeting?
Just want to again repeat my request that I be given the minutes and the notes that I never got for this meeting so that I can at my leisure look at it again.
Certainly, Honourable Marais. We'll make sure that that you receive the link for the document because you'll need the blue book for all the deliberations in the committees today. So it's very important that you do have that. I'll do everything to make sure that you get that urgently, and we'll be in contact with you. Thank you for.
Chairperson.
Yep, Honourable Allen.
So sorry, I see it has landed in our inbox again a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, thank you very much, Honourable Marais. Please, if you'd go to your email, it has just been resent, so you'll be able to use that blue book as your reference for all of the committee meetings today. All right.
Thank you, Chair.
With that then done, I'd like to thank members for their attendance and participation. I'd also like to thank the procedural staff, Senior Ms. Klutter and Ms. Kamish Ahmad for running a very smooth meeting in spite of the IT challenges. Also, thank you very much to IT for their work in getting this committee meeting up and running. With that, the meeting is adjourned. Have a good day, everybody.